Boys, welcome back. It is week 2 of the Barbers United Fantasy Football League, and I'm a winner, finally. Last time I came in here all depressed, all sad, talking about I'm a loser, but I talked my talk. I called Mark out, and I took care of business, so I'm excited for this one. Dalton did not have as much success, but I think you're excited as well, right?
I'm excited as much as you can be starting the year off 0-2. We got a lot of ball left to be played. We got a lot of ball left to be played.
A lot of ball left.
So
a lot of ball left.
I can't sell the farm. I can't chalk the season after 2 weeks. Now, after 4 weeks or 5 weeks, that's where we might start to turn up the volume a little bit. But right now, we're just kind of figuring it out.
Plenty of time left. I was texting a lot of the guys, but I was texting Braden at one point during the weekend. And anyone that follows our league knows that me and Braden like to hang out kind of in between the 6 and 12 range. We're kind of always like in the playoff hunt, but not quite there. We're fighting for our lives. And so we both text each other because we got to win. And we're like, this is our year. This is our year. We're going to make noise this year. So we'll see what happens, but let's jump into it, man. Crazy week, a lot more points than last week. Thank God, because it was a tough week for fantasy football last week. I think the highest point score didn't even break 150 last week. And this week, your man's on top. Give me the crown, sitting at 166. But I think league wide, all points were up. So thankfully, because football's fun when people are scoring points, man. It just is.
Yeah, so recapping week 2, we had the Daltonius Daddies dropping to Team T-Shet 91 to 113. Catalina Wine Mixin toppling Big W Shuts 136.8 over 93. Tripe Eddie Thatcher beating Team J Money 146 over 116. Cooper Scoopers losing to Team JM Landrum 105 to 113. And Only Fades beating MJ Burley 166.94 over 132.18. And for the game of the week, I feel like we had an upset with the game of the week last week. We had CDs TDs just barely edging out the Book of Mormoms by 2 points. 2 points exactly.
No upset, Dalton. Listen, first off, rolled the tape from last week. Your boy went 6-0 on his predictions. Every single matchup I picked, we hit on. So let's go. I wish there would have been money on the line because that would have been a nice little parlay for your boy to hit. But no worries. I'll take just the bragging rights. Good enough for me today. But no, this was not an upset. Listen, I told you, Lucas is great. Lucas is going to be at the top there. But Blake, he had a terrible week 1. But Blake bounces back. That's what he does, man. And I predicted it. I called it. He's another one I texted with during the week. Ooh, he was sweating that one out. They made him sweat it out to the very end. I can't believe he actually did pull it off because Lucas had Tua, Tyreek Hill, and Kendrick Bourne going in the final games of Sunday night. That Patriots-Dolphins game, he lost by 2. Those guys combined had, 26 plus 6, 32, 33 points. So he only needed 35 between those 3 guys. You would have thought for sure. I mean, Tyreek Hill had the chance to do that by himself.
Yep.
And they come up 2 points short. Absolutely insane. Blake pulls it off, gets a win. But I don't think this is a downer on Lucas's season at all because Lucas, like you said, he lost by 2 with those guys doing way poorer than they're ever going to do. Lucas is going to be just fine. This is more of a bounce back for Blake. And we've got some competition, man. This is going to be a fun year.
That's what I had kind of in my notes here was that this really came down to Tua. We know Tyreek's going to get points. We know Tyreek's going to ball. I feel like he's a guaranteed 15 every week. Not that that's, great or anything. That's pretty good, but he's guaranteed 15 every single week. It came down to Tua and and Tua just played kind of meh. He had those 2 fumbles, and I feel like that's all that cost him. Maybe one of those fumbles goes away and he scrambles for another 3 yards and it's looking like Lucas wins. It was that close.
And then we have to talk about my the co matchup of the week, the runner up matchup of the week, me versus Mark. I gave Mark that business, took care of it. I will say in Mark's defense, Mark had a really good week. Mark was like the 4th highest point total on the week, the highest person of everyone that lost. He would have beat a few other people in the week. So his team bounced back. His team put up a good fight. I appreciate that. I applaud him for that, but he's not me. He's not me. He's still a little bit lower. He can work his way up, but he's not there yet, Mark. You'll get there, buddy. Just keep trying. Keep trying.
Not that you'll get there, buddy. Let's get into our updated standings going into week 3.
At the top, we have 3 teams still undefeated. Number 1, Trap Daddy Thatcher. Marcos is holding down that top spot. I said last week he was right where he wanted to be. Number 2, Ty. Number 3, Jake. Number 4, Lucas. Number 5, myself. Number 6, Braden. Number 7, John. Number 8, Peyton. Number 9, Blake. Number 10, Mark. Number 11, Dalton. And number 12, Schutz. Big W, Schutz. He might be having to take that to Big L Schutz soon if he doesn't turn it around. Let's give out some superlatives, my man. What do we got? Biggest winner?
Dude, our biggest winner this week has to be you. It has to be.
Thank you.
You scored more points than anybody in the entire league, 166.9. Like, you have to be the biggest winner. And on top of that, you called Mark out and then still scored more points than anybody in the entire league. You guaranteed biggest winner.
My man. I'm going to take that. And I'm repping my boys. They won as well. Ugly victory. I do not feel good about our team whatsoever, but we got to win, and that's all that matters.
And you beat a division rival.
We did. And prayers up to Nick Chubb because I feel terrible for him.
Yeah.
That was disgusting and brutal, and I hope he gets back.
Yeah, man, the Nick Chubb thing. The Nick Chubb thing.
Someone that's had knee problems.
Right, yeah, but that's what I was about to say is like back when he was at Georgia, there was I don't remember who they were playing, but that big hit that kind of took out his knee, he didn't look the same for the next like 3 years. Like he's still Nick Chubb and he's still good and he's still a great running back that can fight. But man, those knee issues are really nothing to play with, especially for a running back. Hopefully he gets better. J.M. Landrum had him on the team and replaced him with, I believe, Kyron Williams for this week.
Kyron Williams is such a steal, bro.
It really is. It really is. Nick Chubb was in for a historic year in Cleveland. And, you know, this is just, I mean, that's just tragic. Now, our biggest loser of the week, dude, the biggest loser of the week is 1000% me. It's 1000% me, dude.
I didn't want to do it to you.
And you know, we can pair up 2 of these superlatives because I am also on thin ice. My quarterback, Deshaun Watson,
I agree,
looks awful. Justin Jefferson's getting locked down the field. Now he's also getting held, but you don't get fantasy points because of bad calls. Travis Kelce hadn't had his breakout game, and I put on my draft sheet, get Travis Kelce or die. And he didn't even play in week 1. And then my running backs are a little suspect. I'm on the struggle bus a little bit right now. My team is definitely on thin ice, but we can bounce back. We're going to be fine.
Biggest loser because you could have won this match. Ty didn't put up a lot of points, 113. This was a winnable match. And I mean, Jefferson, by all means, still had a good week. James Cook had a good week. Like, you were 1 or 2 players just doing something, having a pulse away from winning. So that one hurts.
Yeah.
The problem was I looked at your bench and you got nothing from them as well. So I don't know what you're going to have to do. We're going to go over the waiver wire here in a minute. You got some pickups, so things are going to change up a little bit. But I mean, Zay Jones dropping the ball, Marquez Valdez-Scantling dropping the ball, and then your bench just, I mean, a couple of them not even having points or having 2 or 3 points. Got some work to do, man. We got to rebuild this roster, Dalton. The good news, Dalton, is that it is a new week. We're on to week 3. Week 2 is behind us. I got to tell my guys, hey, forget about that win. It's a new week, coming off that high, transitioning, focus, locked in, dialed in to get another one. Yep. And it's a brand new week for you too. So let's go ahead and start off with the waiver wire. You'll put it up on the screen here. A lot of bidding this week, a whole lot more than last week. And the number one, the one we have to talk about for sure, is Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford, after Nick Chubb goes down, he goes off for over 100 rushing yards. He's the number 1 guy on everybody's list. He wasn't on a team. And so Peyton gets him at the whopping price, 3/4 of his budget of $152. That's absolutely insane. But I actually don't think that it wasn't worth it. Like, I actually think he was worth that much money.
It should be said, he could have gotten him for 66. The next highest bid was $65. Now, I understand the game of put down a bunch of money for him. But 152, I mean, you're almost not getting another waiver the rest of the season with that.
This is the thing. Jerome Ford is worth that if they don't pick up another guy. The reason I stay away from Jerome Ford, A, he's a Brown. I don't like to get Browns because they're my division rivals.
Right.
But B, the little bit of nervousness that they could go out and get Kareem Hunt. Like, there's a couple options for them to get another running back to bring to the fold. If Jerome Ford has this backfield to himself, I mean, he put up 104 yards the other night. He looked good. Now, $152 is a lot of money, but when you're blind bidding and you need them, you got to do what you got to do. For Peyton, I hope that the Browns don't go out and get somebody else that's going to take, the majority of the snaps away from them. So we'll have to see. crazy. We do have a few other waiver wire additions. Mark got Matt Breida, Blake got Hunter Henry, Marcos got Josh Reynolds. A lot of people were bidding and outbidding, and it was a lot of fun to see this. Two of them I have to mention. Obviously, first off, you got me for Tank Dell.
Yes, sir.
I literally was sharing my waiver wire strategy with you last week in the office, and I think you used it against me
a little bit.
And you outbid me by $3 for Tank Dell. So there you go, starting to rebuild your bench there. I was able to get Adam Thielen over Braden for $2, so I felt good about that one. He bid 10. And I went to 12 because I just knew somebody was going to go either 10 or 11. So I went to 12 to be safe and got him. So anytime you can get one up on your boy like that. So you want to get into these week 3 matchups or what?
Yeah, let's get into these week 3 matchups, but I got one more thing that I want to ask you about. There is a trade that I've had out to you for Brock Purdy for a week now that we talked about on the last episode that you haven't even texted me back about yet.
Here's the thing. I wanted to see what Jordan Love did. You were trying to give me Brock Purdy. He was trying to give me Kirk Cousins. Now, in my defense to Braden, and I told him this, he sent me the trade for Kirk Cousins on Friday. Kirk Cousins had already played on Thursday, so I wasn't going to accept that trade not having Kirk Cousins available for this week. Yours, on the other hand, I had just bought Jordan Love on the waiver wire, and so I was like, well, let me see what Jordan Love does for a week and decide if I want to go long-term with him or not. That was my idea with yours.
Let's get into the week 3 matchups. We've got the Daltonius Daddies taking on CD's TDs. We've got Catalina Wine Mixin taking on Trap Daddy Thatcher. Team T-Shet taking on the Book of Mormoms. Only Fades taking on Team JM Landrum. And Cooper Scoopers taking on Team MJ Burley. We'll start with Catalina Wine Mixin versus Marcos Trap Daddy Thatcher.
This one's simple. Marcos is number 1. I'm going to go with Marcos.
I agree. I'm taking Marcos as well. Braden's got a good team. I'm taking Marcos as well, though.
Until he loses, it's hard to pick against him.
Then we've got Team T-Shet versus the Book of Mormoms.
This one's going to be fun. I thought this one could have been the game of the week, Dalton. Number 2 versus number 4. Lucas looking to bounce back, and I think he does. I like Ty. Ty has been the surprise of the league so far. He's got a really good team. But I hate that Anthony Richardson cannot finish off a game, dude. I texted Ty, I was like, dude, imagine if he could just finish, how good your team would be, you know? So I think he's going to play Matthew Stafford, who's been really good. I'm going to go with Lucas to bounce back this week. I think the combination of Tua and Tyreek Hill bounce back and have a big week. So
I agree with that one. I think this one is going to be like our co-game of the week or game 2 of the week kind of thing. But I'm with you. I think Lucas, the Book of Mormoms, is definitely going to take this one. I think it will be close, but yeah, I think Lucas. And then we've got me, the Daltonius Daddies versus CD's TDs. And it's not looking great, but I'm a bet on myself. We're running it back. We're getting the first win of the season, and the Daltonius Daddies are going to make the big time legacy run into the playoffs starting week 3 right now. I don't know if it's your energy. Or whatnot, but you convinced me. I'm going to ride with you as well. The odds are not in your favor. Blake's team looked good last week. He's got a pretty big gap here in the projected points, but let's go with you to pull off an upset. And then we've got Cooper Scoopers versus MJ Burley. And I know we dissed Mark a little bit last week, but I think Mark's going to pull it off this week. I think Mark, like me, is starting his run a little bit late into the season, but I think he's getting that first win in week 3.
Mark's team bounced back, and they fought very hard last week. They put up a valiant effort. Peyton got Jerome Ford. I'm riding with Peyton. I think he wins this one.
And then we have you, Mr. Only Fades, versus Team JM Landrum, who just suffered the loss of Nick Chubb. I think that it would be a mistake to not pick you, especially riding off of the biggest victory of last week. I think you're going to keep it up, and I think you're going to go 2-1.
No need for me to even talk here. I'm giving it to myself. Jake gets his first L of the season.
Now, for our game of the week, we have the 7 seed Team J Money taking on the 12 seed Big W Shuts. This is anybody's game. I think it's going to be a good
7 versus 12, Dalton. 7 versus 12.
7 versus 12. I know it's a little
for our
crazy.
Game of the week.
I know it's a little crazy. I feel like these two. This is a prove it week for both of them. Like we had Landrum won. Team J Money won in week 1 and then got stomped last week by Marcos. Shuts and J Money have both kind of been, on the edge towards the bottom of the league. Now I'm right down there with them. Don't get me wrong, but this is going to be a week that it's for these two. It's going to be one of two things. Either one of them is going to prove it and one of them is going to just beat down the other, or it's going to be a dogfight. And that means that the league from top to bottom is pretty mixy and it's all pretty close. So it's one of those two. That's why I have this as our game of the week.
Well, I agree with you from the standpoint for more shuts than anything. I think John could lose this and be okay. 1 and 2 is not a bad spot to be by any means. 0 and 3 starts to get scary. 0-3 starts to get scary because I don't think your season's over yet. But 0-4, you are right there on the borderline of being done. Like, that is a dangerous place to be. So 0-3 is not a spot you want to be in. So this is a big game for Schutz. I think Schutz needs to turn on. And I think I don't know what he's going to do at quarterback. That's the scary part, is that neither of his quarterbacks have looked good. He spent money on both of them. Both of them were preseason top 5 quarterbacks in Joe Burrow and Justin Fields, and neither of them look good at all. So I don't know who you turn to in this situation. You have Justin Fields playing your Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think that's going to be a good outcome. Yeah, and Joe Burrow going against the Rams, who have looked really good as well, and Aaron Donald. So I don't know who he turns to here, but he does need a win, and desperately. And if he doesn't win this week, there might be time to start making some changes. Staff. I'm here for it. Game of the week. We'll give it to Schutz and John.
Me personally, I got Schutz winning this matchup.
Do you?
I do. I think Justin Fields is actually going to have a decent day, even though we got Chris Jones back and he's looking good. I think Justin Fields is going to have a good game.
This morning I picked up the Chiefs defense because I disagree wholeheartedly. I don't think Justin Fields is going to look good. I think the Chiefs are going to kill him, and I think they're going to score me a lot of points. I'm going to roll with John on this one. I think John gets his second win of the season, and Schutz is going to have to start making some changes to his lineup. Perfect. And is that the last matchup? I believe it is, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So we'll be back next week. I will be back in the office, hopefully in studio, and we're definitely going to try to get one of the guys on the league this week one of the guys in the league on the show next week. This week, with me being out of town and doing the Zoom, just figured it'd be a little bit more simple. We wanted to get Blake on. He wasn't able to do it. So hopefully next week we get somebody else to join us. But let's have fun. And so good luck to everyone on their leagues, and I hope everyone wins, even though that's not possible. So Don, we good, my man?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Peace out, boys. See you next week.